Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins, coming to you from our little coin shop just outside of Washington, D.C. in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Got my sweet wife Ingrid here. She's going to
Hello.
ask us some questions. And I want to be sure that we talk today about one of the biggest things that, the most important thing that you need to understand about gold and silver. But let's take some questions first from my sweet wife. And
Okay, first, I guess we just have to
oh
say
my
this.
goodness.
Gold hit 3,000
Yes,
intraday.
3,000. The confetti is
I
falling,
know.
the whistles are blowing. Yes, so we had an intraday 3,000, which I think it was way back in September, October, somewhere in there that I said, I made the prediction that we would hit 3,000 gold March or by the first quarter. So March, April, we were
Yeah.
looking at 3,000. And my further prediction was that when we hit 31, because 3,000 is such a technical number that when we get to 31, it'll only be 8 months, 8 to 9 months. I'm going to go with 8 months that we actually hit 4,000 because it only took us 12
Yeah.
months, plus or minus a little bit, to go from 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah.
3,000 is a technical number that's going to be a little bit hard. There'll be some pullback, there'll be some base putting in technically, but then we'll go from 3,000 to 4,000 fairly quickly. I don't think that'll be a problem. And I might as well go ahead and do the rest of my
Yeah,
predictions
prediction.
now.
Yes, I was going to ask you what you
So
thought.
on silver's at 33, 34, hit 34 intraday. And I think when it hits 35 or 36, that we're going to see it go quickly from 36 to $50. So keep your eye out on that. Probably, I'm guessing 4 to 5 months. It's going to be a very short run from 36 to 50. And talking about silver right now, let's talk about how they're actually using ETF paper silver
That was
to help
amazing.
short the market. So you're seeing the market being shorted in silver. Where are they getting the product to be able to do that? They're actually sending out letters to ETF people and saying, we will take a lien. Will you let us put a lien on your silver so they can use that and go into the market and then lower the price and do,
Explain how they do that
well,
real quick. I was asking you,
yeah,
because it was when
that
you.
is so in the weeds.
Okay.
Really difficult to understand. It's lots of fun. You think of somebody writing themselves a note, hey, I owe you silver, and they put it in their right pocket, and then they pull the money out of their left pocket, and they've got money to spend for the day. So it's just an IOU, but as the silver continues to climb, and as the market continues to have a demand for silver, it's going to require the banks to then have to pay to go into the market to purchase to meet those obligations for the liens. So that's going to drive the price even higher.
Okay.
So it is complicated, but
Yeah.
it's just when I make my predictions on where silver's going, where gold is going, I combine all of these things. I combine
Right.
what the technicals are saying, what we see here at the shop happening, what we see in political things. All of
Yeah.
that goes into with the dollar. All these things together is where I get my predictions from.
Okay, speaking of kind of on that, it leads into my next question. What do you see the trend in our shop this last week? What did you see? When you
Right.
say
So we're still
trends.
continuing to see the main trend is that the lower income people are really, really in a bind,
Yeah.
desperate. In fact, we actually had someone throw a rock through the window this week, and they came in and took a bag of chips and a $5 bill. Just people that are hungry, people that are desperate. They're coming in with pennies and trying
Yeah.
to say, hey, it's worth a bunch of money. So we're seeing desperate in the
Yeah.
low income. And even middle income, you're seeing people liquidating, clearing
Yeah.
out in order to come up with money.
Right.
It's just a little bit tighter scenario. And on the other spectrum, the people who have money are starting to talk about, hey, let me get into gold.
The gold, especially.
Right,
That's what
and
we're
we're
seeing.
actually starting to see where we like to have it be even. Inventory coming in, inventory going out, and not have to go to our wholesaler. But this week we actually had to go to our wholesaler to get inventory. So that means that there's more buyers than
And
there
he
are
didn't
sellers.
have it.
Right, and of course the Canadian Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Now they told me this is what they said, and I haven't heard this anywhere else. But they're not able to get Maple Leafs without the 25% tariff
Yeah,
on the
that's
Maple Leafs.
really, and we haven't heard any more about that. But
consequences
it's-
of the tariffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, in respect to the Maple Leafs. And we'll get into
Right.
tariffs on the political when we talk a little bit about the political stuff.
Yeah, I guess that was maybe
Well,
my next question was
okay.
about, because they keep saying about how it's so chaotic. That seems to be
That seems to be the big word,
the big
chaotic.
word,
right.
chaotic with Trump.
Yeah,
and,
the
you know.
tariffs are on, and then there's a 30-day pause on this or that, and it seems confusing and chaotic. And no human being likes change,
Right.
especially
Oh,
the
no.
older you get.
Oh, I know, we
People
know about
really
that.
like to be set in their ways. And one of the things I've been saying all along in my videos is that this is going to be very chaotic. Because you're giving the patient an anesthesia, then you're taking out the heart and putting the heart back in. And what do I mean when I say that is we've had manufacturing leaving the U.S. for years and years and years because of the trade indifference that we've talked about with the dollar. So now we're going to try, and we've been living off of printed money. Just look at how the USAID has
my
been printing
goodness.
money and giving it out, and it's just been a free-for-all.
Yeah.
So that's why we're nearly $40 trillion, fast approaching $40 trillion a day. And everybody knows we're adding $1 trillion every 100 days. So
yeah.
we need to switch. We need to bring our manufacturing back, and we need to cut off all of the printed money, which is going to be a huge operation. Bring
Yeah.
manufacturing back and stop printing money. And you're also noticing the switch with tariffs. Here
Yeah.
we've been supporting nations by giving them money, by trade deficits and things like that, and supporting them financially. Now we're saying, hey, we're cutting off your aid and your support, and we're going to go back to reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah.
Where things
That's what
are
people
equal.
are not understanding.
They don't hear that word reciprocal.
They've been charging us so
Yes.
much, and we
Massive,
and
billions,
we just been
billions and
paying
billions.
it.
Yes.
And now that we're putting it reciprocal, even.
Right, nobody understands
no,
that. Well,
they're
the
all
reciprocals
coming
now,
down.
let's keep everybody straight. The reciprocals start April the
April
2nd.
2nd, yeah.
Some of these tariffs that you're seeing now are for fentanyl and other things that we want to get straightened out in our
Right.
country. And Trump talked this week about capital punishment. You know, this country's not really ready, probably not ready for capital punishment, but other countries that have capital punishment, they don't have the
problems
drug
we do.
problems,
Yeah.
right? So the tariffs are going to, the switcheroo is coming. People don't understand the chaotic. It's not so chaotic when you realize that drill, baby, drill. That's what Trump is saying. He's saying, yes, we've got reciprocal tariffs, but we've got drill, baby, drill. So if we drive the price of oil down and we lower the dollar's value, we can then offset these tariffs, and we can handle going through this. And we can talk about maybe there's this $5,000 that they're talking about giving out if we need to, if
Refund.
there's a problem or whatever. But you understand how we're switching. We're cutting off
And that's
giving out this
difficult.
money, and we're saying, hey, bring the manufacturing back, and we're going to do that by drill, baby, drill, lowering energy.
And also, I think we missed on we didn't get to do we did our last week's video, but it had a buzz on it, so we couldn't
Yes,
publish
sorry
it.
about the technical problems
But
last
I
week.
asked you on that question how we talked about how they were switching from the printing of money so much. Oh, I know, the taxes. This is my question. We've been able to raise revenue off of sell treasury bonds off of them, the government raising our taxes.
Yes.
Okay, so now Trump wants to switch that to actually be able to get people to buy our T-bills valued on our assets.
Right, so we're
that's
gonna
a whole switch.
It's another complete switch where we're going to change the Internal Revenue Service to external revenue. In other
That's
words, we're going to
amazing.
start taxing. The tariffs are going to be where we are taxing stuff that's coming in. So you have to produce it here and have manufacturing and jobs here. If you don't, it's going to be taxed coming in. Instead of us paying taxes and tariffs going out, we're switching it, and we're going to have external and get rid of the Internal Revenue Service. And what you're talking about, to answer your question, is the Internal Revenue Service was used as a tool to collect revenue from the citizens and then use that revenue collecting to back the bonds and treasuries that we were selling. In other words, if you go in and you're going to buy a brand new car, and they would look at your paycheck and say, yes, it's just enough to pay the interest, and you're not really going to be paying very much of the principal, but we'll make this loan because we're going to get twice as much money back.
Right.
because you're going to be strapped by this car payment, but we don't care about that. We see that we can double our money by making this loan
Right.
to you, and you're going to be a slave to us. So
Yeah.
we're getting rid of that slavery that the Internal
That's
Revenue
good, yeah.
Service provides, so that we can print this money, which then it routes back, of course we know it routes back to the DNC mainly, but to some of the Republicans also, and we're going to clean that whole mess up.
Yeah.
So it's going to look chaotic, but there's a plan. And let's go a little bit deeper on the
Okay.
plan, because a lot of people don't understand. We talked about the balance between drill baby drill and lowering the dollar,
Yeah.
and all that. But what we're really talking about is the banking system is going to change. We're going to continue to have the reserve currency status over the globe and the other currencies underneath, but we're going to have private banking, and they're going to use the stable coins. Trump and Steve Bassett have introduced the stable coins that's going to be at each of these banks. So each bank, in my opinion, now I'm going on now I'm breaking away from what they've said, I'm going on my opinion, is they're going to have each bank is going to have its own stable coin. And then those stable coins are going to move by some mechanism to be equal, and that's just going to be our other currency. We're going to have a new currency. It's going to be a citizen's currency where it only operates here in the US, and we'll have privatized banks. So the Fed, they can have the 40 trillion in debt. They can have the reserve currency status. Let that continue to float over the entire globe. But in order to bring manufacturing back, you have to have a currency. So they're going to back it with gold
Yeah.
and other assets and income and have it be a profitable situation. And then keep an eye out. What mechanism are
Yeah,
they
that's my
going to
question.
use to maneuver these private stable coins amongst these different banks? And put it in the comments if you think you know what it is.
Yeah.
We'll let you see
Well,
what we get.
that brings me to my next question, though. Someone asked us about crypto. What do you think about cryptocurrencies?
Yes, I have never been a fan of crypto,
Yeah.
especially Bitcoin, because number one, nobody knows where it came from, who invented
Right.
it, what kind of back doors or how it can be used, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you start saying a CBDC, which Trump has said he's not going to do, but he may actually have some loosely connected way of doing it. We'll have to wait and see as far as saying, hey, there's fraud, so let's do this private banking system. So we'll have to see about that. But as far as Bitcoin, I'm starting to say, okay, why not put $50 or some lottery money, cut out some coffee, or save some money and set aside and put a little bit in. Because there are some things that are $1, $2 right now. Some things, some of these stable
Like penny
coins,
stocks,
penny
yeah.
stocks, right? And have fun with it. And
Right.
and I always say I'm a big believer in diversification. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I put $20 into this or $20 into that, and because that's where we're headed. The Trump administration has said
He
we're
wants
going
to
to
be
be
the
the
crypto capital.
capital of the world.
Yes.
So what's it hurt to put $20 into something that's penny stocks right now that could go to 10,000?
Right.
But whatever you do, don't bet the farm
I
on
know.
crypto, because we'd never had money before too. That's another reason why we really stayed away from crypto. We just didn't have $50 to put into it.
Yeah.
Now we have $50, we can afford to maybe venture a little bit. So
Right.
only if you have spare money and you feel like you can go out on a limb. But
Right.
it's definitely not financial advice. It's just my
No.
opinion, and that's what we're doing.
And to go along with Trump, who did say we're going to be the crypto capital of the world. So it's going to have to go somewhere.
Right, right. It's going to have to be, and it's going to have to be technology that's already established. So there's hundreds of thousands of different cryptos. You have to do your own research to decide which one you would want to invest in. And we just, let the
We have
Lord
an-
lead us.
Yes, and we have
And-
an opinion where we think which
And-
one will be the main, like you said, to maneuver
Right.
and move around the
Transport it around and
other
things like that.
cryptos.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see what other people would recommend in the
Yeah.
comments.
in the comments.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Okay, so just one more question.
Sure.
What does it take to own and run our
Oh my
coin
gosh.
business.
You can't even keep a straight face on
coin
that question,
business.
because even in this video, I will never be able to convey
No.
how much we sacrificed to get here to this place. People come in and they look around and they go, where do you get? And it's not that big of a coin business.
No.
It's not that big. And they're just shocked at the coins and they think it's a lot and everything. We started out with a little case, probably
Yeah.
about the size of a
Right.
case like this,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
just a little tiny case. And
Yeah.
it was like $75
$75 a
in
month
an
we
antique
rented.
mall.
Yeah.
And I sat on the steps next to the case, and I had a
Yeah.
few coins there. And if somebody would walk in, I would just start talking to them, and I would start learning from them what I could, just from communicating with them. Because I tell you, I didn't know anything about it. I was in the construction business. I just knew that this was an economic situation that I needed to be up to
Right.
speed on.
Yeah.
So I set that case there, put a few little coins in it, and started selling, started talking to people. And we lived in a camper.
Oh goodness! you're
And we
telling the
drove
story. Yes.
the junkiest cars that we could find. People would donate them
we
to us.
We were determined not to have a car payment.
We were determined not to have
and
a
to be
house
out of
payment, not to
debt.
have a car
Yeah.
payment, and to make this coin business go.
Yeah.
That's what we just focused 100% on making the coin business go. And so I would work
Yeah.
on the cars at night. If
Oh
I
my
didn't know how to
gosh.
fix them, I'd get on YouTube and I'd watch every YouTube
Yeah.
on how to change a transmission or how to tune something up. And,
Oh, you knew how to do
and we
it.
patched
Yeah.
up those junky
You
things.
did.
They were and junk cars piled up in the yard trying to get them running. And we did that for a long,
Also
long,
running
like
a
10
farm.
years.
We started a farm
Yes.
at the same time.
Well, we're really convicted by
Yeah.
what we see coming.
Yeah,
And so
that's
we started
true.
a farm. We
Yeah.
did the rabbits and the chickens and the cows and the sheep and catfish and you know,
Yeah.
you name it. We did aquaponics. We did fodder house. We did
Yeah.
everything. We experimented with everything
Yeah.
to learn. And so
That's my darling.
that's our conviction to the fact that you're going to need this technology.
Yeah.
You're going to need this knowledge and this
knowledge,
experience.
and we have learned a lot.
But it was sacrifice. It didn't
It
just
was.
happen. It
No.
didn't just fall in our lap.
No,
You know, we worked at it to get to
We
where
did.
we're at right now.
we really did.
And the Lord's really blessed us and
He
led us
has.
along these ways.
He
Let
really
me talk about
has.
one more real quick
Okay,
thing,
darling.
and then we're
Yes.
going to wrap up.
Okay, that's what
so
I was
this
gonna ask
this is
about
the
that.
most important. We're probably going to have to do a separate video on it, but this is the most important thing about gold and silver that I can explain to you. Is I've been watching Tucker Carlson and some of the other YouTubers, and they're seriously asking, what
Why
is
gold?
it? Why gold? Why silver? It's because of the labor and the energy that exchanges between gold and silver. If you go out and you pan gold down by the river all day long, the amount of gold that you get should equal your food for the day.
Yeah.
And that same with silver. You go dig silver out of the ground, you're going to exchange it equally for food for the day. So there's our videos right here in Fredericksburg, down at the Shenandoah River, a guy down there panning for
Yeah.
silver. And
Yeah,
he would
I saw
not have
that.
made it. He would not have survived. But there's so many restrictions on what you can and can't do when you're panning.
Yeah.
So be careful, you know, be sure that you're operating inside the law. But
Yeah, that's true.
no machines and sleuth sifting machines. But go down there and try to survive off of this, because that's what you're doing. You're exchanging one person's labor to grow the wheat, grind it, and make bread, and another person actually was panning for the gold, which is where you store your wealth. You can't
Right.
store the bread, but the
No.
silver and the gold and the copper never go bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it's God's money.
and it's God's money. It's amazing how that's
Yeah.
set up,
Yeah.
where the gravity, the sun rises and sets, and the tides come in and go out, and there's just enough gold and silver for you to toil in the soil and make a living.
That's true, and it can't be manufactured. In this, our present dispensation of our the weather and the way the earth is, a magnet.
They call that the alkaloid. There's
Okay.
no alkaloid
Yeah, there's
that can
nothing.
produce the gold
Yeah.
and silver. It has to be done by labor.
Right.
You have to toil in the soil, whether you're going
Wow.
for gold or silver or wheat or corn, to produce what it takes. And you'll find that you can't do it without the Lord.
Wow, that's so true.
Thank you,
That's so
everybody,
true.
for coming.
Blessings.
We appreciate you.
Have a
Take
great
care.
week.
Bye.
Bye.